David Seymour felt the full fury of Māoridom in Parliament this afternoon after introducing his Treaty Principles Bill. The country's youngest MP, Te Pati Māori's Hana-Rawhiti Maipi-Clarke, interrupted the vote with a haka. MPs and members of the public gallery joined in before the Speaker kicked everyone out. It was the culmination of one of the fieriest days in Parliament in living memory, with Willie Jackson calling Seymour a liar and Hana-Rawhiti saying ACT was running the country like the KKK with a swipe card to the beehive. Meanwhile, thousands continue to march towards Parliament in protest. Senior political correspondent Jenna Lynch has more.
People power, winding its way to Wellington as the bill they are marching against was put up in Parliament.
I present a legislative statement on the principles of the Treaty of Waitangi Bill.
Before it could get off the ground, a warning to everyone, including the public, to keep it civil.
If anyone interrupts proceedings from the galleries, they will be removed.
David Seymour got the debate underway.
This bill does not change the text of the treaty itself. What it does do is confirm the government has the right to govern New Zealand and this Parliament has the right to make laws in the best interests of everyone. It commits to protecting the rights of everyone.
Drowned out by a vocal opposition.
It is not division. Treaties are supposed to unite people, not divide them.
Which only got louder.
Shame, shame on you, David Seymour.
It is the constitutional document by this House and democracy is established here in Aotearoa. This Parliament means nothing in Aotearoa without the Tiriti o Waitangi. The only reason this Parliament exists in Aotearoa is because our tipuna consented to it.
Whether or not this bill becomes law in this term of Parliament, it's only a matter of time before its logic prevails. That's why they say kill the bill, because they can't kill the idea.
He is not standing up for democracy. He is using and abusing democracy against my people, against your people. How dare you, David Seymour?
ACT are seen to be pulling the strings and running the country like the KKK with a swipe card to the beehive.
Some taking it too far.
This is to you, David Seymour. You fuel hatred and misinformation in this country. You bring out the worst in New Zealanders. You should be ashamed of yourself, and you are a liar.
Leading to a dismissal.
Going to have to ask the member to withdraw himself from the House.
The oppositions are not the only ones against the bill.
Treaty issues are complex, and I think it's very simplistic with a stroke of a pen to believe that you can resolve 184 years of debate discussion in the way that they are.
Christopher Luxon promised at the election not to support it, but Seymour won support for the first reading in coalition negotiations.
Why does your promise to David Seymour mean more to you than your promise to the New Zealand people?
Well, it's not. It's about coalition governments, as the New Zealand people delivered an outcome in an election through an MMP system. Correct. I've been very upfront about that.
So why does your promise to David Seymour mean more than your promise to the New Zealand people?
I wouldn't frame it that way.
And so as National MPs stood to argue against it,
it is too blunt and simplistic and risks stoking grievance and driving division.
It's a simplistic approach to a very complex issue.
But had to vote for it.
It is important to point out that compromises like this are at the heart of the MMP system.
Chloe Swarbrick challenged them to break rank.
Mr. Speaker, any member of Parliament in this chamber right now can call for a personal vote on this bill to vote differently from their party.
And vote with their consciences.
Are you comfortable with your name being a yes vote for the Treaty Principles Bill for all of time on history?
I am comfortable supporting the policies of this government.
I hope my name will go down in history as one of the members of the National Party that fulfilled a coalition agreement.
Has anyone asked for a conscience vote on the matter?
I won't discuss what we have talked about in caucus.
They weren't allowed. They were whipped to vote as a bloc.
But if your MPs asked you for permission, would you allow them to vote with their conscience on this bill?
No, we are voting as a party on the first reading of the Treaty Principles Bill. That is our position. But as you know, we have a united view, which we just don't think this is the right way forward.
But voting wasn't as easy as that, as the House came to cast their votes. The youngest MP in the House, holding a haka, tearing the bill in two and throwing it on the ground. Speaker suspending proceedings, halting the vote.
The House is suspended until the ringing of the bells. The gallery is to be cleared.
Eventually, the bill passed.
The ayes are 68, the noes are 55.
Fair to say, not without incident.
Well, Jenna, this was an extraordinary day in the Parliament, highly charged, emotional. So where to from here?
Yeah, it was always going to be a dramatic day. There is really no grey space on this bill. MPs have picked a side and they are passionately voicing it. The Speaker called that haka grossly disorderly. He called it appalling. He called it disrespectful. And he handed out one of the harshest punishments that there is to Hana-Rawhiti Maipi-Clarke for leading it, which is naming her in the House. He also called for a vote on whether to suspend her, which MPs voted in favour of. So she is being suspended from the House of Representatives for 24 hours. The Speaker kicking everyone out due to that disruption seems largely unprecedented in modern times. I've talked to a couple of the longer-serving MPs around here, some of them who turned up in the 90s, and they certainly don't remember it happening in their time. That includes, of course, the contentious foreshore and seabed debate of the early 2000s. The only time we can find it on record at this stage is in 1977, nearly 50 years ago, during the debate of an SIS bill in which the gallery was warned 5 times before the Speaker finally cracked. It's certainly one of the most, if not the most, raucous displays I have seen in the Parliament. Now that the bill has been voted on, though, the debate passes over to the public. The Justice Select Committee has been charged with hearing submissions on the bill for the next 6 months from the public, and if today is anything to go by, we can only imagine how heated this is going to get.